What's happening, Brighton? The short answer is a lot. The long answer is this podcast. What's Up Brighton is a show dedicated to the community we all love.
Hosted by Roger Burnett, Eric Meldrum, and Coach Mark Howell, this podcast will feature news, issues, and discussions impacting Livingston County and celebrate the people who make our slice of Michigan go and grow. This is What's Up Brighton. What's up, Brighton? I'm Roger. That's Eric. This over here is Coach Mark. And if we do our jobs well, we're here to give you a laugh, maybe something that make you think, maybe a little piece of local knowledge, and maybe even inspire you to achieve new things. So this podcast serves as a way for us and all of the rest of you following the Brighton, Michigan Happenings Facebook page to serve as the review of the best and the brightest and even maybe some of the most curious things that we see happen almost daily as admins of this page. There's more than 38,000 of you out there these days who are following along with us and what goes on that page. So we're really excited to bring to you some of the things that we see from behind the scenes. And then, of course, we're hoping for you to give us as much feedback as you possibly can about the ways that the three of us might continue to bring value to the community and bring more education, entertainment, inspiration, and fun to the Brighton, Michigan Happenings podcast. What's up, Brighton? What's up, guys?
What's up, man?
Dude, good job.
You know.
That was awesome.
I've done this a few times along the way.
Once or twice.
Little spiel.
A little bit. But forget about me. Right now, we got this guy over here, Mark. So Eric shows up to town a few years ago and says, Hey, man, I don't know how to make friends around here. Go ahead and finish the story.
Yeah. So more than a few years ago, we started Brighton Happenings in 2016. My wife and I just moved here from Ann Arbor, and we were looking for kind of a way to plug in, find out what was going on.
Welcome.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah, it's cool here. I like it.
It's very cool.
Staying a little
the best, man.
So plug it into a new city with a newborn. Isn't always the easiest thing. So we just wanted to get acquainted with it, and I'd seen some of this stuff. In Ann Arbor, there were some local pages, and I found a ton of things for us to do. Just exploring Ann Arbor, but I didn't see that here in Brighton. So I was like, why don't we just start it?
Yeah.
So we did. And what turned out to be like a couple hundred people at first, sharing recommendations, asking for, tips and tricks and things to do around town, mainly just me getting responses from a lot of, locals here, turned into an explosive, growth of 38,000 people in the community that are all partaking, and the amount of activity in the group is just absolutely overwhelming. Had to bring in some help, had to bring in, some positivity coaches.
The big guns.
Yeah, I had to bring in some big guns. But no, I'm excited, man. It's been a whirlwind. A lot of people always ask me like, what is the intent of the group?
Yeah,
and
right.
It's a good question. And for many years, I've just been holding on, to the culture and try not to let the negativity of social media really overrun the group, and not let it turn into a buy-sell trade group, not let it turn into, this wasteland of people that just come in and they're like poo-pooing on your parade, and that's really easy to do with social media. So I think I've done a pretty good job of doing it. I've had some people tell me that they've looked at other groups, been a part of maybe some copycat groups in the area, and like, dude, your group's nothing like the other groups. So it's like, keep the garbage out, keep the haters out. Awesome. And it's just a great place for people to go plug in and be part of the community.
Shout out to our sound engineer, Johnny, who told us pre-show just exactly how much he appreciates the fact that we keep a lot of that garbage off that page, because as all of us know, there's many other groups that we all are parts of that the minute you pop in there, you're like, why did I join this thing? Man, there's not any value coming out of this thing whatsoever. And I think that's really to your point, Eric, which you've been able to do a really good job of. And thank you for having the patience and caution to allow me the opportunity to also do the same thing. We're just trying to make it so that the people who are out there and really wanting to learn more about the community and not have to get trolled and bullied and shouted down on the page have an opportunity to really be able to connect and network. And what we're hoping, obviously, by the virtue of this podcast is to give all of you an opportunity, one, to get to know us and get a sense of really what it is that we're trying to accomplish on the page. But maybe even more importantly, once you get familiar and comfortable with us and each other, we're hoping that we can take the offline conversation that happens digitally and turn it into an in-person conversation. So some of you can actually meet each other if you've not had the opportunity to do that. But before I get too far ahead of myself, I've got Mr. Energy, Mr. Enthusiasm over here. And I got to make sure Mr. Inspiration gets his opportunity to talk. So Mark Howell, man, many people will know you for what you do for those of us in the community who need help in their darkest hour. But that's not just who you are, brother. You're a lot more than that. So we're going to let
thank you.
Coach Mark loose on the show. So you can be.
I'm excited.
It's
already been like the energy's been super high. Like going
man.
into this show, it's like Mark brings a whole new level to it. I'm excited about it. So.
I hope being on here, I don't lose my job at Brighton, and I also don't lose donors in Fund to Life. That's kind of my whole single goal.
That will happen. Trust me.
I know. I'm doomed. Thanks, guys. You sabotaged me.
We're gonna do our best to keep guardrails on.
And also,
Coach Mark.
I hope I don't end up divorced. Sorry, honey. I'm representing our brand at home.
Exactly. So I wanted to, if we were to sum up our thoughts and feelings as we were coming to the show today, was there like one word that you kept thinking as you were coming in today?
I just kept thinking positivity, and like that's the thing. Like even me, like the admin of the page and the creator of the page, like there's times where I go in there and you get sucked into negativity, right? And that's not what we want, for the group, for the community. That's why I think positivity out of this is there's so many good things, like so many good things happening in our community, and those are the things we want to highlight. So I'm excited, to talk about some good, some bad, some ugly, but more importantly, some positivity that's going on in the community, because there's a lot of it, right? Yeah, we have a lot to be proud of, a lot to be thankful for, living in this great community.
Absolutely. What about you, Coach?
Oh yeah, I mean, energy is mine, right? I think that this community is just an energetic. It's an awesome one. I mean, I've lived in Brighton my entire life, and that's intentional. The people here are special. I know that you guys know that. I feel it. It's a reason why we haven't left. It's a reason why now we're raising our family. It's a reason why I came back to coach at the high school that I graduated from. And it's a very unique, one-of-a-kind community that's full of good, and the people that know that typically are a little bit quieter than the ones who maybe want to focus on the bad. And so let's bring the good to light and celebrate that a little bit more.
I'm trying to think what the right adjective for me would be. We're just being ourselves, and so hopefully you like us.
Authenticity,
because we're just going to be who we are, and I think it's a representation of sort of our entire community, right? We Brightoners, we Livingston County, we're fiercely independent, fiercely don't want anybody to tell us what to do. And I think it's largely what is the single unifying characteristic of everybody who lives in this general area is like, hey, don't tell us what to do. We'll do what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's funny because we were prepping for the show and we're like, what should we talk about? Like, what do you think people want to hear about, like, in this? And there's a ton. Like, we got a laundry list of things that we're going to go into. But one thing you said was really kind of funny as we got into it. And you're like, I think people want to hear some of the things that are going on in the group, like the comments, and I was a little bit hesitant at first. I'll be honest. I was a little bit hesitant. I'm like, should we really air some dirty laundry out here? But I think people are going to appreciate it. Yeah. I think the people that, are going to, it's going to resonate with are the people that we're talking about, the people that are a little bit quieter, that have been here for a long time, that really appreciate Brighton. And they look at this stuff and they're the type of people that won't go on social media and start bickering back and forth because that's not a productive use of anybody's time. It's just a waste of time, Absolutely. So like scratching their head, like, man, that's really weird. And I've had clients who I brought into the group. I'm like, hey, you want to learn more about Brighton? Like, come into the group and check it out. And I've had some clients call me and like, yeah, I don't think we want to move to Brighton.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, like, that is not a good representation, like, at all. Right. So
see how many Mexican restaurants they have
and car washes.
Now I will say that is a pretty wise strategy for the longtime Brighton residents. Like, it's like the ski hills up north, the good ones. Everyone's like, no, don't talk about those because then more people will come.
Right.
So I think there might be a little bit of that going on in what's happening.
Dude, we're not going to stop anybody from coming like to Brighton. Like we can't like take it off the map.
But damn it, we'll try.
We will try. We will definitely
push it out. Yeah, we'll sabotage everything. So no, it was funny. Like as we were kind of going through that and prepping for it, like those type of things are gonna happen. But the point of that was like that's not a good representation of our community, right? And letting people know what Brighton's all about is really what this show is about, right? Highlighting the best of Brighton, highlighting the best of Livingston County, and going above and beyond, right? Because the people who live here are amazing. Like I've met all of you guys from the Brighton page,
right?
Like we've gotten into networking groups, we've gotten into so much, because of the circles that we run in, the way we conduct business and the way we conduct ourselves, and you just meet some of the most amazing people. Right. And you can walk up and down Main Street and say the same, and all the clients that I've had, they were like, well, let me just go see what Brighton's about. They walk down Main Street, go to the restaurants and like, oh, this is actually one of the best cities I've ever been in. Like total game changer. So I think the point of that really was to say this show, is here to change the culture of the group. Right. We're on a mission to bring positivity to the community, bring some news that people are talking about, good, bad, or ugly. Like we're here to talk about it. We will probably bring some opinions in, but more importantly, we want to highlight the things that are going on in the community, because I think it's important. Right? I think it's important, right? One of the things that was so crazy over the last year was the streetscape, right? We don't have to get into it right now, but like,
no. This is a perfect segue, actually.
All right.
It's a perfect segue. So
bourbon, aisle 3.
Bring it in. Tequila.
I mean, right. So to your point, what we've said is we want to make sure that we have the opportunity to not only ourselves cover what happens in the community, but if we've got 38,300 people who have the opportunity to bubble up more things for us to talk about, what better connection between this podcast and the community than for people to be able to come on and go, yeah, that downtown was a fun discussion, but what about over here? What about this thing that's going on? Like, remember when the gravel pit was a big thing down right across from Oak Point? They were talking about putting a gravel pit in there, and the community just rallied, formed a Facebook group. We're at the meetings, township meetings, standing room only, people outside. Like this community will get behind things when and if they're aware of what's going on. So this is a perfect opportunity for not only our community to bubble these things up to us, please do, but for us to now talk about why making a left-hand turn onto Main Street is really hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, the other side of this too is like having some of the city officials on to talk about this and giving them a platform. I met with the mayor, a couple times during that, and some of the conversations I had were completely different, than some of the rhetoric that I was hearing, in the group, and just seeking to understand. I think is a good place to kind of position that conversation is like, okay, great, you have an opinion, but like, what else is going on? What's the other side of the story that we're not really hearing about? So like even having the conversation with them, like, oh yeah, that makes sense, right? Like I understand a little bit more now, and like as you're going through, one of the funny things was, people were in like uprage about the grates that got put in. They're like, oh, you can't plant a tree in there, or like they look ugly. I'm like, and mayor's like, actually they're designed to take a ring out like every single time the tree grows. Like we have a growth pattern here, right? So like, oh, that makes sense, right? So like there's an explanation, and people are just so quick to jump on these things. So I'm looking forward to having some of those discussions, like bringing people in and just talking about that.
Something about a food pantry. I don't know. Might be a discussion point.
Oh my gosh.
Seems to be a topic for some reason on the page. Like
it might be there.
Why do people hate the food pantry?
Why do people hate the food pantry?
If you know that, please, like, why do you hate it? Just tell us. What's wrong with it?
Mark, do you hate the food pantry?
I like to just assume the best. Right. I love people's skeptical view on everything in life. And I think those keyboard warriors that want to hate on the food pantry are hating on everything else as well. It's like, hey, assume the best, bro. Let's go. Yeah. Just scroll on by.
I would like to think, okay, we could talk all day about downtown's streetscape. We have another episode coming soon. I'm sure we can delve into that one much in greater depth. However, let's talk about when the page has been great. What have been some of the instances for the two of you that the page has just been amazing and awesome and a perfect example of what we want to see more of out of that community?
Oh gosh, there's been so many. For me personally, that I've gotten out of it. Just learning about events, learning about different things. But I think the thing that really kind of touches me the most and fills my cup, each and every day, is when the community rallies around something, right? And when people are just uplifting, lending a hand, lending a voice, to something that's going on, and that's, not shown through one specific event, but like when I see that, those are the things that I really pull from the page. I'm like, man, this community really is great. Like we have some amazing people here, and it might not be the people that are actually commenting or doing the thing, but some other people are like, hey, did you know?
Right.
So-and-so did this, right? Or so-and-so is doing that. And, that's one of the things we'll have a whole entire segment on Mr. Mark Howell and his amazing organization, soon. But, that's one of the things like I see from so many people in the group is if there's a nonprofit, if there's a cause, if there's something that, requires monetary, support, time support, whatever it is, we have no shortage of givers in our community, right? And that's
absolutely,
that's amazing to me. So,
what about you, Coach?
Tunnel of Lights, man. Tunnel of Lights captures it all. It captures the beauty of Brighton. Something so simple that cost nothing. People just took time out of their day to go take a picture, at a place in Brighton, and everyone could instantly just visualize where they were at. They could feel the love, they could feel the positivity, they could feel the hope, and people just sharing pictures, and it just uplifted everybody around Christmas time. I mean, what a great, to the point where people were begging for it to stay up longer.
Yeah.
And then it even parlayed into, can we do a red one for Valentine's Day? Can we do this? Can we do that? And it's like, it's a tunnel of lights.
Good question. Are we doing that? Like, is that
not that I'm aware of, but
we should do it.
Maybe the three of us are.
Another question.
Right?
Couple things. It would be amazing, and maybe somebody out there would want to help us make this be a thing. I bet you if we go to the page and count the number of photographs, it's in the hundreds.
It's got to be.
Oh yeah.
Easily. What if we made a giant collage?
Oh yes. Yep.
Of
We're in.
all of last year's photos.
Boom.
Doing it.
We're done.
And had it displayed
Done.
somewhere in downtown Brighton so
Absolutely.
that people could see what that was all about. That'd
do
be
it.
cool. Anybody? Someone? Bueller?
Yeah, we will.
Anyone?
We will take some
I
recommendations.
think we
on
know
that
some
one.
people at some printing
We know
companies
some people.
around town.
Yeah.
I know a printer or two.
But on the same topic, shout out to Barb Binkley. She was the one who kind of started this trend, here in the community. Her and her husband took a picture down there, and she said, just a non-whimsical thing. It was like, hey, share your photo of it being down here. And that's what started it all. So thank you, Barb. Appreciate it.
So cool.
More of the same.
Yep.
It can't be overstated how cool that was.
We're going to take a quick break from a word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by the Oxford Center, where healing begins with a blend of compassion and innovation. The Oxford Center offers a ton of different treatments, ranging from hyperbaric oxygen therapy, autism services, physical therapy, speech therapy, and occupational therapy, and more. They've pioneered research behind a wide variety of treatments and conditions. They're located in the heart of our community, right here in Brighton. They believe in treating the whole person, not just the symptoms. Discover how they can support your journey in wellness. Visit theoxfordcenter.com or call 248-486-3636.
Now, quickly, we don't want to get too far into this on the very first one, but does anybody need their air ducts cleaned? Does anybody need their car detailed?
If you do, I have a guy or a gal or bot, maybe.
Hundreds.
I have 17 at least.
Hundreds. I don't know how. I don't know why. But for some reason, and we just had a regular contributor to the show ask for a recommendation on air duct cleaning, and I had to say no. And it broke my heart to have to say no, but that would literally be opening the side door and letting all of the people you don't want at the party into the show.
You know what we need? I started this and then I got busy with some other stuff, but we need a guide, right? We need a directory of.
You mean your full-time job isn't managing a Facebook group on Brighton? Come on, dude.
Kind of is.
It was. Now it's mine.
Yeah, right. Thanks a lot. Welcome to retirement.
My side gig that pays the bills. That took over for a little bit there. But that'd be cool. Let's do a directory. Get some things in there, because there's a handful of companies that do air duct cleaning. The last thing you want to do is have Billy Bob show up at your house with a drill and some weird thing that goes in your air ducts. Like,
not
get
cool.
a professional company to do it.
Yeah, right.
Just get a professional company,
please. And I wish we could give you an opportunity to actually see the volume of that kind of activity that we're responsible for. Literally, it's like swatting flies all day long, trying to keep all of that away from all of you on the page, because we want all of the fun stuff and all the positive things and all the stories behind the companies that comprise this community to have an opportunity to shine through. And if we let through all that junk, probably not going to have 38,300 members.
You know what blows my mind though is like in today's world, especially, there's this thing. Most of our viewers probably haven't heard of it. It's called Google. And you type into it like looking for an air duct company. Literally 100 would show up. I mean, it's like in today's world, like, is this? We have to go to a Facebook group. You could have cut down on your time and just gone straight there to the source. It's like, come on, people, stop being so freaking lazy. Right. Let's just go. Let's just get the job done.
Exactly.
Oh, Mark, coming in hot with the common sense here today.
I mean, come on.
Coming in hot.
Come on. What's up, Brighton?
Coming in hot. All right. I'm going to stay on, since roads seem to be a hot topic here on this particular episode. Did you see that there's a roundabout going in, and another new roundabout going in over by Mount Brighton?
Oh, yeah. They're planned all over the city.
Yeah. So talk some more about what you know about the roundabout plan, because not everybody's super happy about this right now.
So in addition to the Mount Brighton one, that's stretching into like Genoa, then Green Oak Township has them. They're going to be all over, right? That's becoming the new standard. We have the Lee Road one, which was setting the standard. I don't know who designed that one, but it's like multiple roundabouts and roundabouts. It can get a little bit confusing, but I drive through them every day. No big deal.
That Mount Brighton one is going to be a game changer. That's like got to be one of the worst intersections in Brighton. Yeah. It's left. It's like that one's going to be the best roundabout
I really think
ever.
So.
Well, that road like angles and like you can't really see. You need a roundabout there. But they just put one in off of Rickett and Winans Lake Road.
Oh, right, and it's awesome.
That Silver Lake exit, right by Silver Lake and Whitmore Lake Road. That's going to be roundabouts, right? So they're redoing that interchange there, and they're going to pop up. You're going to see them all over the place. And that, if you've ever gotten off to go to the Legacy Center,
good luck.
Silver Lake, dude, like that
every day. I'm literally going there every day, and I don't go that way anymore. I take
awful
side roads because it's a nightmare. You will stay there for 30 minutes.
Yeah, if you're coming south on 23 and you need to go left onto Silver Lake, good luck.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
Yep. And we won't even get into what's happening underneath Grand River at the 96 interchange, because we'll get you the plan so everybody can see that and have an opportunity to really get upset, because it's probably the weirdest thing that you have ever seen ever. So if you think the roundabouts are bad, and Lord knows we know from the page just how much activity the roundabout discussion gets. So Lord knows that thing is not going to stop anytime soon.
That's been in the group already. I mean, they've shared the plans. There's been some comments and some back and forth on that. But it's like when people find out what's going on, because the big thing was like, hey, what was happening with the gas station over there? And it's like, well, they're actually redoing that. And what happened with the Pizza Hut that's over there? Like, well, they're actually redoing it. And then people they learn the plans, like, oh, this is crazy, this is awful, like, well, Grand River sucks and the traffic sucks, like, it's done, let's go back to just living our lives. And it'll come full circle when they start bringing out the construction trucks and start tearing up the roads, and then it's blocked. So yeah, it'll be a mess, but
should be a good time, don't you think?
It's gonna be a great drive to school, because I go right that way multiple times a day. It's gonna be a nightmare, but it's well overdue. I mean, there's so many of these things you have to wonder, like, who originally plotted all this out, because it's like you just go back in time, or like, what were you thinking, or what were you not thinking of, because this is so stupid.
To me, the way the road pattern is set up in Brighton is a complete representation of the community that once was, and now we're having to bridge this move to the community that we're becoming,
Absolutely.
to the discomfort of many, in some instances, present company included.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the reality of the situation is this town is growing by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
And we have to do something to be able to make it so that you can get to the Shell station on the other side underneath the bridge without it taking 25 minutes.
Well, and let's do it right now, right? Do it right, the right way now, so we don't have to address it again for another 100 years.
Yeah, and I think this is the root of like the conversation, and this town was never built for the population that we're experiencing, right? And let's be clear, none of us are civil engineers. We don't know.
Speak for yourself, Eric.
Maybe Mark. He's got many talents.
He's a man of many skills.
I dabble.
Yeah, he's a helicopter pilot. He's
a member of the deep state.
Yeah, yes. Member of deep state. But yeah, we don't do that or pretend to be civil engineers on TV. So, we don't know what we're talking about, but we just know like there is a lot of growth that's happening here in the town, and the road infrastructure needs updating. Obviously the streetscape was all about, plumbing and waterways that needed updating. This stuff's happening, right? And we can choose to either be on the side of bitching about it and complaining, or trying to figure out like, okay, how do we actually do this, right? We can criticize, the government for taking the initiative to make our roads better. Great. Awesome. Where are we going with this conversation, right? Like what's next? Are they going to do it right? I don't know. I have no idea.
If we look at the downtown, some people would say they didn't get the first one right. So maybe that might spur a little more lack of confidence.
Then get involved with city council, seek to understand the plans, and
be involved.
Figure it out.
Why would I get involved when I can keyboard warrior up in Brighton, Michigan Happenings group? I hate everybody. Nobody knows what they're doing.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of a perfect segue into the Coach Mark portion of the program, right?
Good.
So
there we go.
Again, as we said earlier.
Cue the bourbon. Let's go.
As we said earlier, this guy, energy for days, usually pours it into very specific places. The people that are underneath him as a coach, and the people who are trying to help him shine a light into places that and people that definitely need it. So I like, man, what do you got? I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah. So when you kind of tasked me with the segment, I was like, oh man, where am I going to go with this, right? And I think first and foremost, I think what makes Brighton really special, and why I think us as a community we resonate with Detroit and everything else, is we're tied in so closely with our sports and our community, and our sports are one with our community, kind of like we were with the Lions. All of us lived the Lions journey, right? Whether you're here,
if you weren't a Lions fan, you are now.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's like the team that they wanted to jump on board with. And in Brighton, we live and die by our local sports teams as well. I mean, go to a Friday night football game in the fall, and you've got 10,000 screaming fans going nuts, most of which may or may not have any relationship to the football players themselves or the team. But here we are, and homecoming's huge, everything else. So having the honor and distinction to lead the varsity soccer team, a team that my goal when I graduated Brighton was to come back and coach the team, some of my favorite memories on the soccer field and in life happened right there at Sloan Field, historic Sloan Field that everybody drives by, all the time. And it's just such a cool setting. And, like this year, I can speak to the importance of how the Brighton soccer team was kind of a microcosm to our community this year, in that, like culturally, we as a community do such a great job of elevating others. And when we work together and put our egos aside, we achieve amazing things. And this year, we lost in the state finals, as you guys know, minute 56 away. It was a heartbreaker.
So close.
I don't have nightmares about 1-5-6, like 24/7. But anyways, and we had this year's team was ultra talented, and we had some players come out of what now is academy, and I don't need to get in those details, but basically players that had to decide what they were going to do with their individual talent and put their egos aside for the betterment of the team. And it was a decision and a maturation that they had to make. And all too often in life, it just really echoed to me the success that they had on the field and what we were able to do as a team to what we as a community and what everybody else, like the best teams, the best organizations, the best groups are made and find success when you check your ego at the door for the betterment of the group. We together are stronger than any one person individually. And this year's team echoed that. We had a guy come in runner-up for Mr. Soccer, which is the highest prestigious honor, and he's only a junior. Wow. We had a guy come out of Academy who's a D1 caliber athlete who, gave up all of his accolades to risk it all to try and win something with his high school team. And a lot of other guys that had to take different back seats and understand what their role was. And it wasn't always perfect. We hit our obstacles along the way, and we had to navigate the peaks and valleys of the season. And but they were able to do that because at the end of the day, they knew that each and every one of them could be a part of doing something special and great if they did it together and if they just embraced their roles. And something that we echo on the soccer team, and I truly believe in, is at the end of the day, all 23 guys are of equal value. You have different roles. We have guys that need to score the goals. We have guys that when the game's on the line, they got to take it over. We have guys that need to keep the ball to the net. We have guys who are practice-only players and never see game time. But if they're not doing their role in preparing guys come game time, then we're not at our best. And at the end of the day, if we win that state championship, everyone's name is on that trophy. It doesn't say, hey, Joe Smith, 0 minutes played and 0 goals. It just says Joe Smith right next to maybe the Mr. Soccer guy and everybody in between. And in life, like our soccer season was just so emblematic to what I believe to my core in life. Just check your ego at the door, accept your role, embrace your opportunity to inflict change in whatever manner you can bring that gift to it, and the world will be a better place. And I think that's what, we're here doing that today. I know it's my mission here on earth is to bring my skills and my ability to do whatever I can to make this world a little bit brighter than when I came into it. And together we can do that.
Dude, spitting chiclets over here.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I want to go play right now. Let's go.
Speaking of playing, you golfed yesterday. I mean,
I know, it was amazing.
What the heck's going on
We
here?
could be golfing right now. This weather's
amazing
silly.
February, beautiful day to golf for sure. So I hate to pull an allegory out of this for 38,000 people, but Brighton, Michigan Happenings is kind of a team of 38,000 people if you think about it.
Absolutely.
And really, ultimately, it's up to the team to decide, much like what Mark is saying, is do you want to be a part of something bigger than yourself, part of our community in a way that you can make a contribution, and what better place to do it than with all of these people who are already together and just dying to hear what everybody wants to do to make the world a better place. And then this really is sort of a commentary on the way that people respond to the posts that are in the page, right? Because Absolutely. How you respond is a reflection of whether or not you believe you're on the team or not, right?
100% agree.
And certainly we all have teammates that are sarcastic. Certainly we all have teammates that like to bust each other's balls.
I don't know.
We love to do it. You're gonna hear that on the show.
You got to do it.
Yeah,
but let us know who you are so that we know that you're not being a troll. Let us know that that's just your personality, and that like we actually might even find it funny over time if we realize that like he doesn't mean any harm. And we try to run the page under this idea of no malice, right? So we assume no malicious intent, but we have to also be careful to make sure that people feel like it's a comfortable environment, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So last segment, it's Eric's section. He hasn't done anything yet. So it's Eric hasn't done anything yet section. What would you like to talk about, sir?
Eric hasn't done anything section. This segment, I don't know that we need to put this in here as a reoccurring thing, but I just wanted to, kind of take this opportunity to thank the entire community. Like this is, people always look at this page as like, oh, Eric started it. Like, it's Brighton Happenings. Like, oh, thank you for creating the space. Like, all I did was really police it for a long time. I started it, kept it going, kept it really kind of rocking and rolling, found great things out of it, highlighted the people that I thought needed to be highlighted, shared some wins over the course of the years, brought people in that I thought were a good fit for adminning the group and bringing just a different spin to it. And, I'm excited for what we have in store for it because, this thing has grown bigger than just any of us, right? It's an entire community, as Mark said, like, this is our team. This is the people that we are going to run into at the grocery stores, the people that we're going to run into at the restaurants. There's people in this community that, find ways to agitate, things at certain times. But, I've gotten to the point where those things don't bother me, anymore. It's fine, right? It's Facebook, right? That's what social media is like. I have to remind myself that before I go to bed, like I'm scrolling through and like, approving posts or not approving posts.
What a terrible time to scroll, by the way, right before bed. Like, oh my gosh,
terrible. Just
talk about the anxiety and the stress. Like, don't do that.
Yeah. I've actually got to stop doing that. Thanks to Roger. He's actually been taking the brunt of the post. I feel like I'm kind of on a vacation, at the moment. So, but no, I really just wanted to say thank you, to the whole entire Brighton community. Like the people that we want highlighted, they have been highlighted and we want more of it. Right. So, we got some exciting things coming. We are going to be taking a lot of the events, other content that we have in the works, for Brighton Happenings and What's Up Brighton, out of Facebook, right? So that won't be the only place that you can consume some of this content. This podcast will be broadcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube. We'll also be spinning up our website, which will have, opportunities for the podcast to be broadcast there. And, it's becoming this media company, right? That I never thought we would start a media company, but at the end of the day, call a spade, right? We are providing valuable content. And we need to get the word out for people like Mark, people like Roger, people like, the amazing entrepreneurs and business owners and nonprofits and school events that are going on and all of these things that are happening in our community that we all participate in on a day-to-day basis. And one example of that is like, we're going to miss the daddy-daughter dance for my daughter's school. Unfortunately, we'll be in Florida that year, but guess what? I know of about 3 other ones that I can go to because of the connected community and just being in the know, so that's what this group's all about. Like I could have just blown the news like, hey, we're going to miss the daddy-daughter dance, but hey, guess what? You're in Florida. So sun's shining and it's all great, but she's crushed, but put a spin on it. Hey, we got another opportunity, right? We got another at bat here to go, dance our socks off, at a daddy-daughter dance and dress up and have fun. Awesome. So, thank you to Brighton. And thank you to you guys for taking this journey with me, on this podcast. And I didn't have to twist their arm too hard. I just had to say there's bourbon, in this.
I was in. Yeah.
And Mark
I've been here for hours. I was here like 6 a.m. slamming bourbon.
Just ramped up.
Any last words, Coach Mark?
Oh, wow. No, I wasn't really ready for that. No.
Cool.
Thank you, Eric, for what a great vision that you've cast, and to be an out-of-towner, to come in and start a group in our town that is so big and so powerful. What a great resource you have started, for this community. So thank you. Thanks for inviting us in and letting me be a part of it.
Absolutely.
We have an attitude of gratitude here at the Brighton, Michigan Happenings Facebook page and at What's Up Brighton. So that's it. That's all there is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for spending time with us. And until next time, this is Roger signing out.